Good afternoon. I'm so glad you are joining me today. I'm talking about how do you help your struggling teen when you both know that they need help without losing yourself in the process. I mean, you're doing everything that you can, getting them the help that they need, and yet they're not participating. Like, wait a minute, because I thought that we both agreed that you needed the help, and here's me doing everything I can, and it's not working. You're not going through with it. So, what is going on? Thank you so much for joining me. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. This is a topic that I just heard a story about, and I have permission to anonymously share. So I'm going to do so in honor of carrying the story from this mother who shared with me, and I hope it helps to liberate more of you because parenting is hard. Holy Hannah. Okay, so first of all, there's an issue. There's some issue with your teenager. It could be mental health, okay? Especially right now. It could be anxiety. It could be depression. Self-diagnosed, or at least a concern of. I don't believe in Google machine diagnosing. You want a mental health professional to do that. It could be that they're struggling in school, and so you're looking at a tutor for them or extra support. Hey, thanks for joining me, everybody. Oh, perfect. This is your life. Okay, well then this one's for you. It could be that they need help with just general self-esteem. Maybe you have a teenager who was in a relationship. I hear about this often too. And that relationship went sideways. A primary romantic relationship went sideways and they're really struggling with that. Maybe you have a teenager who's been on the receiving end of a lot of, let's say, negative attention on social media. I'm careful to say bullying. Not all unaware behavior is bullying, but anyway. And so it's not going well. Regardless, you have an issue, okay? You, as the caring and courageous parent that you are, because that's why you're here, are invested so deeply in your child's wellness and happiness. Of course you are. It's literally wired into you. From the moment that little tadpole, call it what you will, went in there and was attached to you with that umbilical cord, the physical umbilical cord may be cut, but the emotional one, hi, that's parenting. It literally feels like they're emotionally attached to my heart, right? And so when your teenager is struggling, of course, you are going to do everything you can to get them the help that you feel that they need. Sometimes they agree with you and sometimes they don't. So I'm going to be really cautious with you in storytelling this because this is a generalized story. This is a generalization. This does not fit every one of you watching. Okay? I'm not a mental health professional. I am not here to diagnose. I'm not here to say that this is exactly you. And if you're watching, I bet you there's still something in this for you or someone that you know. Okay, so you've got the issue and your teen seems to be in agreement that they need some help as well. Like they're just not, it could be anywhere on the scale from they're really not doing well to they're just not themselves. And so you have sought out some help, a counselor, a therapist, maybe a coach, depending on the fit, even a doctor's appointment, your GP, a doctor's appointment, a naturopath, some version of help. It could be, like I said, a tutor, something. You go to set that up, and now your teen is throwing shade like, what now? We both agreed that you weren't doing okay. You didn't just go step in and march into their room one day and go, that's it, I'm getting you help. Which if you did, love you. You might just want to backpedal a little bit because it is a two-way thing, okay? Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining me. So you want to, your impression was that this was an agreed upon thing, that they were going to go get help. You go seek the help, you go set the help up. And now, what? Now your teenager is throwing shade at you. Like at you. What? Are you confused? I'm confused. Wait a minute. I'm the one trying to help you, you say to your teen, and now you are throwing shade at me. Pardon me while I'm a little confused. That's the first thing that goes awry, is your teenager starts to portray and throw a level of toxicity at you when your heart's already like breaking for them, because that's what it feels like, that emotional umbilical cord when our teenager is hurting or struggling. That's how it feels like as a parent. So you're doing that too. And then your teenager starts to do this. Your teenager starts to be toxic toward you. Like somehow they're angry at you for the help that they need. I'm going to tell you what I think they're thinking. Okay. They start to even lie, and they're starting to lie even more than maybe they already were. Like now they're just lying, cheating, stealing, throwing shade, stonewalling, which is not speaking to you. Okay, so stonewalling, a refusal to engage. They're just not engaging with you. Or even, I'm just looking at my notes here because I wrote a bunch of notes and I want to make sure I cover everything. They're ghosting you. So they're just not responding to texts. They're not answering your questions. They're sleeping over at friends a lot. What happened here? Because I kind of thought I was your advocate and your ally, and I did what I thought that we both agreed you needed. And now you're treating me like I'm enemy number one. Why don't you just pull my heart out and drive over it a few times? Take the meat grinder to it. It is crushing. It's crushing. And so your teenager continues to blow off. I mean, like therapists, psychologists, like hundreds of dollars an hour, and your teenager or young adult continues to blow off appointments. Like the therapist is calling you and saying, yeah, your teen, we were scheduled for 15 minutes ago. They still haven't shown up. You're paying anyway. Do you want to use the time? Like, so they agreed to see the professionals or whatever services of help that you set up. And now they are running so fast from that and taking it all out on you in anger. Here's what I got to say. I'm not saying that your teenager doesn't need help. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is sometimes when some people, maybe they come to you, okay? Maybe a friend, maybe this has happened, when you were younger or somewhere in your adult years. A friend comes to you and they confide in you about something. They let it slip, or they confide in you, you know what, I'm not doing hot. I'm not doing well. And I think I need some help. Okay? Okay, I think I need some help. Stay with me. And you, as the wildly action-oriented, highly caring, empathetic, most loving friend anyone could ever have at the time, went and told everyone that was necessary and got the professionals all set up. And your friend went, whoa, like step back. And then starts getting all defensive and like angry at you. You see, just because someone confides in you that something is wrong, or even if you say to your teenager, maybe they're struggling in school, like I said, or their mental health, whatever the symptom was, and you say, look, it seems like something's a bit off. Are you okay? And they even say to you, yeah, I'm not myself. I can't seem to focus and I just feel sad all the time. Or, I'm just so stressed about having everything be perfect. I can't sleep at night because it's not right. And it doesn't matter what it is they say, right? I'm cold, so I'm having hot tea. But even though they confided in you, parents, your reaction is to get in there and get them help and get it to them. RFN. Like right now. You fill in the blank. Right now. Just because someone admits that there is a concern of some kind. Sorry, my screen keeps blanking out. I forgot to turn the screen display thing off. And they're even ready to talk to you about it. Doesn't mean that they're ready for help. So when you get in the bus and you literally put them over in the passenger seat, like, move over, Mama Bear's here. Sit down. You grab that wheel and you're going to drive that bus and you're going to get that bus to help and you're going to get that every appointment set and you're going to get that. Whoa, they're in the passenger seat over there and they're like, the wind is blowing their eyebrows back. They're like, what was this? I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready. Okay. So then when I'm not ready and I feel you coming at me, I'm just giving you the teenager perspective, okay? I've done a lot of, my son has generalized anxiety, OCD. We've gone through significant mental health issues in my house since he was 8 years old. Significant, lots of counselors, lots of intervention. I'm not at all trying to judge or blame. I'm just telling you what it feels like as a teenager, because I also was that teen, okay? My parents tried to pick the counselor. They told me when to go, how often I should go. I was like, screw you. Seriously, screw you. First of all, I saw my parents as the problem. So why was I going to go to counseling? And number two, you're going to pick the counselor? Really? This is not someone that I want to speak to. So I sat there. And it was a school counselor, so thankfully it didn't cost any money, but didn't cost my parents any money. But I went to one session. I was like, yeah, no, I got nothing to say. And I never went again because it wasn't my choice. I didn't drive the solution. Now, your teenager, depending on the mental health issue, I totally understand there are certain situations where people are in such a desperate state of coping that they are not in a position to drive their own help, to drive their own support. Okay, so yes, there's that too, where there's like emergency. I call that like an intervention. There's like an intervention is necessary. I'm not talking about that situation right now, okay? All right, I'm going to keep going because this is really important and I want to use your time wisely. All right, so they're blowing off your appointments to professionals. They're starting to get toxic with you. They're lying about where they were, why they didn't show up, what's going on. Where they've been. They just like literally just start removing and being super disrespectful and toxic to you as if somehow now you're the enemy. Okay, so what do? Well, you're a parent. You didn't get in this for the faint of heart. You buckle in and double down. That's what you do. You got parent energy. Mama bears, dad dares, whoever's listening. You got mama, so you buckle in and double down. Okay. You're the one who needed the help. We have to get you this help. And so it's like you're talking louder to them about how they need this help and that, you have to go to these appointments and now look at your behavior. You obviously need this help and you agreed in the beginning, which did they really agree? Did they really agree? Or did they say, yeah, I think I need help? It's a difference. Okay. And so you go harder because your heart is breaking. Number one, because they're struggling. And now, number two, because they're treating you like complete crap. So now you double down. Okay. They need help. So there's more attempts to talk to them. All you get from that is more defensiveness, more toxicity, stonewalling, ghosting, through text, a conversation, they won't engage, more lying. Now they're just like lying all over the place because they're not telling you where they are. They're not telling you why they're going. They're literally shutting you out, but not even nicely, like in a mean way. They're shutting you out. more blowing off professional appointments with professionals, more. So what do? You go harder. Because that's what we do as parents. Because I know you would literally do anything to the death for your child. I know that you would. You would give your life for your child. You'd give a kidney. You would do anything for your child. So you go harder because you love them, and your intention is loving. Your intention is good. Now this might be over months now. I'm not talking a week, okay? I'm talking months. Until you start to lose focus and you begin to lose you in this process. Because instead of the relationship with your teen, as it gets worse and worse, I will say, like the situation feels more and more dire to you, your focus goes like, I can see the peripheral, your focus goes like this. And you start to get tunnel vision, and your only goal is to fix them. They're broken. They need fixing. I must fix you. I must fix you. I must fix you. I must fix you. I know that's not what you mean. I mean, there's part of it is what you mean. That is what your teenager hears and sees, is that because you love your teenager, your sole focus becomes fixing them, right? Drop me a I get it if this sounds like you. Does this sound, or maybe not like you, I'm not trying to label, but does this sound familiar? Like you just keep trying harder and harder until you actually lose focus because you're so focused on fixing, on getting them help. Oh, apparently I've been writing. I'm left-handed. Yeah, drop me an I get it in the comments. If that sounds like familiar to you. Okay, I'm going to keep going. So when you lose focus on the relationship and now fixing them, yes, definitely sounds familiar. When fixing them becomes your day-to-day, your breath in, your breath out, your food, your eating, it's all about fixing them. It's all about fixing them. Because in your view, of course, they're spiraling out of control. And honestly, who wouldn't think that? Who wouldn't think they're spiraling out of control? They're getting more toxic. They're getting more defiant. They're lying. Like it's all unraveling. So of course you go harder and then you lose focus. Here's what actually happens at this point. You are spending most of your nights crying and not sleeping. And I'm just going to say right now, my heart goes out to you. I have done that. I have been there, trying desperately to help my son and feeling so wildly ill-equipped, and yet I can't seem to, there's no answer. Like there's no quick, like here, just take this pill and your brain will be better. If you find that, please also message me. Your level of emotional exhaustion has gone way up. Your level of stress has gone way up. You actually begin to enter a phase of codependence. Now I did some research on codependence because I'm careful about labels. I don't like labeling things. This is a step into codependence, okay? Your fixation to caretake, fix, or give advice negatively impacts your physical, mental health, your finances, your job, and your relationship. Does that sound familiar? Drop a yes if that sounds familiar. This comes from a loving intention. This comes from every good intention you ever had in every cell in your body. But because it's not working and your focus gets so tunneled into fixing them, you actually begin to be in a slightly codependent relationship with your teenager. Because your fixation to caretake, fix, or give advice is negatively impacting your physical or mental health, finances, job, maybe your marriage, Other relationships, that's the lean into codependence. Your own mental health is starting to decline because you feel so responsible for their, I'm going to say well-being, because it depends. It could be a mental health issue. It could be schooling. It could be a number of things. You feel so responsible for their well-being and therefore for being part of the solution and therefore fixing them, that you, in all of your loving ways for them, have completely let go of your own boundaries that were set for you to love you. When you forget about yourself and get lost in the fixing them, that's codependence. It is toxic and it is wildly exhausting, and it is more heartbreaking than the original issue, dial back to the original issue ever was, because you are now in a kind of a no-win situation. You are now in a situation where your teenager or young adult sets the tone every moment for how you feel. Your teenager or young adult is now setting the tone for how you participate in your life on a daily basis. That's very toxic. It's very, very toxic. And I know how this feels. Again, I've been there. Literally, in my son's worst times, which I can't even tell you which were the worst times, 8 to 10 years old, or was it the entire grade 8 to grade 12? It was really, really hard. I mean, I can't even imagine what it was like to be in his brain. But I'm an empath. I'm a highly sensitive person. I'm a doer. I'm a recovering rescuer. I'm a recovering overcompensator. If this sounds familiar, put me too in the comments. Like, please tell me I'm not the only one. Don't leave a girl hanging here. Okay, like put a me too down there. And so when my son was having his extremely challenging times, he would come out of his room in the mornings and I would literally wait, like hanging on breath, to see what mood he was in so that I would be in response to that. How he felt determined my day. Because how he felt, if he was off in the morning and he was in a funk, which again, I'm not blaming, that's mental health. That's how it shows up. I deal with anxiety too. When he was in his significant funk in high school was extremely challenging. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Hillary. Girl's not feeling quite so alone right now. That I would wait, and it was like if he was having a hard day, then I was thrown off. I was thrown off, and I was like, well, now what am I going to do? And now I can't. And then I couldn't focus on my work, and I wasn't present with clients because I'm thinking about him, and now he's at school, and well, he had this test, and how is he going to get through the test? What if his friends say something bad to him? How is he going to come home? Oh my gosh, how am I going to get home? How is he going to come home? And now I've got this dinner thing, and does this sound familiar? All because I am now at effect. Okay, I want you to understand. Think back to school. I know it's a rough moment, but think back to school for a moment. There's cause and effect. The cause is like the first domino. Okay, so the cause happens first, and then the effect is the first ripple. Like the rock goes in the pond. That was the cause. Okay, and then the effect is the first ripple. It is a reaction to, it is a response to the stone, the pebble going in the pool. So I got into a situation as a highly sensitive empath, so I could feel his emotions. I could feel when he was struggling. Excuse me, as a recovering overcompensator, fixer and rescuer, and doer. I'm an action gal, so I'm in there. I'll take the action for you. And that's the problem. And he would come out in the mornings, and if he was in a bad mood, I was in a bad mood. And if he was in a good mood, I was in a good mood. But I couldn't be in a good mood unless he was in a good mood. Do you see the problem with that? Do you see how toxic that is? So what ends up happening is you get this really weird power imbalance where your teenager or young adult they don't even know how to manage themselves. And now you are giving your power and allowing them to manage you. I guarantee it won't go well. It will never go well. Ever. So now you've given your power away, and now it's like you're constantly at effect. They're the cause and they don't know it, and you're the effect. And you will pedal harder than you have ever pedaled in your whole darn life, Mama Bear. And you will run farther, and you will run faster, and you will crawl for every crumb, and you will scrape your knees, and you will wear your fingers down until they're bleeding, just chasing them for a good mood. You deserve to have a good mood regardless. It is your inherent right as a human being to have your own boundaries on what is you and what is them. So this next part, I understand I might piss some people off, but this is really important for me to say. I am not saying, again, I am not talking about a level of struggle with your teen where they don't get to choose to be part of the solution. Like it's like intervention time. Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where you can't, I don't know if you've tried this lately, but you can't control your teenager or young adult. Like, I don't know if you've tried. Have you tried dragging a horse to a water and then like making them, getting on their head? Good luck. It's a hard time doing that. It's about getting to a point where your teenager feels, and I know this is not how you mean this, okay, but your teenager or young adult feels so smothered and attacked and made wrong and shamed, and they're a failure. And are you getting where I'm going with that? I know that's not what you mean, but the harder you drive and the harder that you are like pushing them in the passenger seat and you're like foot on the gas, I'm going to drive this healing bus. We're going to take you to every... Stop. Stop it. Just stop. This is your permission slip. Here's your permission slip to get out of the driver's seat. Here is your permission slip to take a big, deep breath and start getting back to you. You see, as soon as you are in a codependent version of a codependent relationship with your young adult or your teenager, and as soon as you have given up you and are now at effect of everything they do, now you have lost you. And that is where hopelessness, helplessness, powerlessness come from, okay? It's probably impacted you financially, your job, your relationship, a lot of other things. And you know what happens when those three things exist for long enough? Either your self-esteem and your own confidence as a parent and a person literally tanks, which is probably part of it. But the other thing that happens is rage. Rage is like the counteract that balances it. And so now you're ragey. Now you've got ragey going on, and you're even more angry at your teenager because they won't do what it is you perhaps know is right, but they won't do what you need them to do. So trying harder isn't the answer. The answer here is about you being healthy with you. When you model wholeness, so codependency is not wholeness. Codependency is I need part of you to feel okay and whole. Okay. When you can take a step back, at least for yourself, I don't know what that looks like. I understand right now there's some logistics in what taking a step back might look like. And changing all the locks and leaving your 14-year-old out in the cold, I'm not saying that either. I'm saying stop fixing. I'm not saying your teenager doesn't need help, okay? And they might know they need help. But until they are ready for that help and they are a ready participant that is fully engaging and even driving some of that help, you do you. Here's your permission slip. You're allowed to cut the bungee cord and here, you go do you. You cannot control your child. Control and compliance is based in a total authoritarian, exhausting version of parenting that's as exhausting as what's going on right now. So for right now, until you can heal you and be whole with you, your teen is your teen or your young adult. You might need to set some pretty firm boundaries about what it looks like to be in your house. But let go of whatever fixing it looks like. So if you need to decide every day, I'm going to feel, I have permission to be happy. I have permission to. One of the hardest things with mental health, particularly, again, I grew up in mental health challenges. I deal with anxiety. My son has anxiety and OCD. Is separating emotionally from that. And again, I didn't do a great job at it in the beginning. I got better at it through his high school years. Is that when you can separate how you are from how they are, and that how you are, you take full ownership and responsibility of that, but you don't take full ownership and responsibility of them. That's on them. You get up every morning and you will give yourself permission to be whole and happy, and you do whatever that takes. Go to yoga, get the massage, do your breathing exercises, all these things we already know work. Get a meditation app, do it 10 to 15 minutes, 4 to 5 times a day. And as far as you take care of you, okay, you fill in the blank, whatever that looks like. As far as your relationship, like, great, Allie, what do I do with this being that's in my house that's being super toxic and blah, blah, blah? Here's the thing. When you just stop, when you just like get off of, like, take your hand off of their head, it only takes one person to change your relationship. So if you just step back and start doing you wholly and fully with boundaries from joy and love and respect for yourself, you change the way they show up, because they're not feeling attacked anymore. They're not feeling made wrong. They're not feeling like they're a failure. They're not feeling like they're broken and need fixing. They're not feeling like that after a while because you're not showing up that way, even though your intention was wonderful. Then you set those boundaries about, look, this is what respect looks like in our house. And if they choose not to be respectful, please don't engage. Because every time you engage, you go back to the codependency. You don't engage. And I know for you as a parent, I understand this. It's going to seem super cold-hearted, like, oh, ouch, cold-hearted and disrespectful. When you literally do you, this is what time we're eating dinner. This is what we're eating. You are welcome at the table. And if you choose not to, I will love you anyway. And let's say they just like did a full-on like peace out, and they're like staying at a friend's for a week and they don't even respond. They don't text back, like nothing. They've turned location services off on their phone, the whole thing. You can just every day be like, I love you. That's it. I love you. And I'm going to go do me. Because if you aren't whole and happy, taking care of you, you cannot model being whole and happy for anyone else, ever. Even if it is heartbreaking. Even, I'm not saying it's like all of a sudden, well, gee, Allie, it's not like my heart stopped hurting. No, it's not. I had to learn that. I had to learn that too. When my son was having his really rough days, I had to learn I still had permission to have a happy day. I had permission to have an amazing day. I had permission to do things I loved, because I wasn't responsible for how he reacted to just me being me. then you are likely to get a teenager or a young adult who, over time, I will never promise you this is going to happen in like a day or a week or 2 weeks even, could be a month, could be more. But the more you do you, and you love them for wherever they're at with boundaries, okay? But you don't engage in their toxicity, you don't engage in the games that they're trying to play, and you do you and model wholeness and happiness, your teen they'll show up to the relationship differently, because all of a sudden you are more invested in yourself being whole and happy than you and invest, and you are loving them unconditionally. You are not trying to drive the fixing bus. Like, everybody get out of the way. You're not in the driver's seat anymore. You just stepped off the bus. So you doing you is the best way to do this. Now, if your teenager chooses to get help, that's wonderful. If your teenager chooses not to get help, it is an opportunity for you to perhaps look at some other boundaries about how they live in your home, about the kind of things. And this is particularly challenging if there is a co-parent, and that co-parent relationship is very acrimonious. Is that how you say it? Like it's high conflict or even toxic. And now your teen or young adult is using that co-parent who they know is toxic and or not healthy for them, and they knew that before, but now they've like colluded and now they're on side with them. Now you got two of them coming at you. Take care of yourself. 100% take care of yourself. Your teen or young adult will, I believe, and I hold hope for everyone, will eventually come to how you are modeling happiness, you are modeling wholeness, you are modeling what it is like to choose your own thing and be whole and fully responsible for yourself, not take on other people's responsibilities. They will come back to you. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're finding this helpful. This is a story that I was recently told by someone that I have permission to recount anonymously. And I do hear about it often, is that mama bear or parent bear, I don't mean to discount men watching. Hey, Safina, desire, it's like it's in our DNA. Our child is hurt and struggling. We are going to get help. Call 911, do whatever needs to. But see, once that worked when they were a child, but now that they're a teen or a young adult, they have the right to refuse your help. And you might be like, well, no, I'm their guardian. They're a minor. Okay, well, you can keep trying to control them. And I am concerned about you and your mental health and how that might go. They have the right to know that there's a problem, but not be ready for a solution. A lot of people dealing with mental health issues, it takes them eons to admit it, to become aware of the issue. It takes them longer to get the issue running around in their head and actually even say it in their conscious inside mind. It takes them longer to say it in the outside, because when they do that, it might be true. And I don't know about you, but the mental health stigma in the world is still pretty dang big. So they already think there's something wrong with them. They already think that they're broken or they're failing or something. And so if they speak it out loud, it might be true. And if they actually have to go and seek help, well, then they're definitely broken. They're a total loser and they're never going to amount to anything. I know these aren't things you've said to them, but these are things that teenagers and young adults do make up, because unfortunately of the message that is out there in the world. And so they might admit something to you or share a concern with you, but they're not ready for action. So Elastigirl, just sit back down, get your super suit off, okay? They're not ready for action. They might need to mull over this insight and share about it with you repeatedly until they're ready for action. And your only job is to love them, to continue to create that safe space for them to share, to be curious. Just say, yeah, what's that like? And what do you think that's like? What do you like? Just be curious. And I don't mean those questions where there's only one answer because it's really a statement. Not that. Just totally open and questioning from a curious perspective if they're ready. Only then is your teen or young adult going to truly take responsibility for being part of the solution. And the moment that they stop driving that and you are driving it, here's your permission slip. Get out of the driver's seat. Take care of you. You do you. You be whole, complete, happy. You decide your mood. You choose what is success in your life and you go do that. And just keep modeling it while you're loving them. It is critical for anyone who is dealing with mental health concerns at a level, okay, where it's not life or death. I'm not talking about where we need an intervention. I'm talking about at a level where it's not life or death. They need to be in the driver's seat of whatever that healing looks like. It would be like, it's like you taking your child who hurt their arm to the doctor and then they like get it repaired and then they have to go to physio and the physio's like, hey, you should do these exercises every 3 days. How many of you have had a teenager who went through that and doesn't do a single dang exercise? Hands up over here, right? And they don't do one. Oh, Adam, you Adamson, 1437, you are so welcome. You can't make them. So stop trying. And if they're like, oh, my arm, I went to do volleyball today, my arm really hurts. Do not be like, well, if you do your exercises, how much do you want to be friends with an I told you so? Do you want to be friends with an I told you so? I don't. Unfriend, unlike, get out. I don't want to be friends with that. Neither does your teenager. So you can be like, oh man, that sucks when you're trying to do something you really love and your arm hurts. That's it. It's not on you. And last thing I'm going to say before I go, I want to say this wild permission slip right now. Your teenager having mental health struggles or education struggles or learning struggles or whatever it is does not and never has made you a bad parent. Do you want me to say? I'm going to say that again, okay? Here's your permission slip. None of what's going on for your teenager makes you a bad, unfit, incompetent parent. None of it. Please stop. I'm not saying that you don't love them enough to ask yourself, gee, I wonder if I've contributed to this. Gee, I wonder if I could help fix or change something over here that might help them, that would also help me. Elaine, you got to listen. You listen to me. Listen to this. Now I'm going to get all emotional. I spent 2 years studying the brain. 2 years. I read every book about the brain that I could get because I couldn't help my son. I couldn't help him. Every day I watched his brain literally attack itself. And there was nothing I could do. We had the best counselor. We had coping techniques. That doesn't fix it in the moment. It's a long-term game. So I spent 2 years studying the brain because that was something I could do to help me to become a better person and to be a better mom and actually help all of my clients more. And I could help him, but none of it was hinged on him not doing anything or doing anything. None of it was me trying to change him. It was me trying to better understand him and be of service that way. So that's what I chose to do for me. It did help. It helped a lot. And on the days it didn't help, that wasn't his fault. that I chose to spend 2 years studying the brain and he wasn't complying. That wasn't his fault. He was doing the very best he could with the brain that he was given. Okay? So when you hinge you doing you, or any learning that you're doing, or well, I'm going to do, then you're back to taking responsibility again. Now you're taking responsibility for them, and now you're crapping on them because they don't seem to be grateful for it, or they don't seem to be changing enough, or fast enough, or healing, or fixing. Let it go. Sing it with me. Okay, I won't sing. Let it go. The healthiest thing that you can do is you do you first. Model wholeness, model happiness. They need to be in the driver's seat of whatever change needs to happen. You are allowed to set boundaries about what respect and disrespect looks like and how you're willing to be treated. Don't engage with negativity and toxicity because you don't deserve that. And you get to decide how you feel every day. You decide. It's your life. You get back in the driver's seat. You, having vacated your own bus on the freeway, trying to drive their bus, who do you think is going to get killed first? You are. There's no one driving your bus. Only they can drive that bus. So you can be on that highway all you want. You can be like, oh, look, there's an exit for a professional help. They're like, nope. You're like, okay, we'll just keep going straight. But I'm over here in my own bus. Oh, look, there's an exit for a medical professional. Nope, I'm driving straight. Okay, we're going straight. And one day you might be like, look, there's an exit for a medical professional. They're like, yeah, I think that's good. You'll be like, okay, let's take that exit. But they drove it. Adam. Okay, I'm going to let this go. All I can say is this is your permission slip, okay? I know you love your child, and I know you would literally do anything for them. So if you're going to do that for them, then do you. Go and do you. I want to thank you so much for watching today. If this is of help for you, please like, share, comment as you choose. I have a free webinar coming up next Thursday, March 25th. The registration link is in my bio. If you want to join me, I am talking all about the developmental stages of parenting. Because you know how there's like one for like teens and children and their brain and their body, but where's the developmental chart for parents? How are we supposed to know this? So I created one. I created one, and I'm sharing that to help parents better navigate the shift between childhood and puberty, the teenage years, and giving you the tips and tools you need to help make that transition so that it is a little less stressful, exhausting, frustrating, and perhaps even a little more joyful. So, thank you. So, yes, exactly, Safina, I know. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you so much for joining me. I am with Mojo and Moxie tonight. Yes. Tonight, I am in their private Facebook group. So Mojo and Moxie, it's Mojo_and_Moxie. If you go to the link in their bio and Instagram, you have to join their private Facebook group. And I am in their private Facebook group tonight with them at 6:30 p.m., 7:30 Mountain. And I will see you on my free webinar next Thursday. You've got to go to the link in my bio. Registration is required. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you all a wonderful week. Stay connected, stay well, stay healthy. Bye-bye.